Good day, Tinkercad and Codeblock friends. Today we're going to revisit Codeblocks, and I want to show you something that I've noticed with my students. Quite often when we launch Codeblocks, they're disappointing because they feel their work was not saved, and I just want you all to know that your code is just down below the cool samples. So I would like us all to get to the tree smart that we made the other day. And I want to remind you a couple things. One, your variables need to be at the top. We found that if you put your variables down below, your project does not run right. If you look real quickly at this one over here, you notice they do not stack up, and that's because the variables did not change. You see how it blinks as the code happens? It did not happen beforehand, so it didn't work. If I reset, and I'll speed this up just so you can see it quick, pop, 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 pop. Now it works because the variables happen first. So keep track of that as you build. Right now, let's quickly build ornaments by bringing out the modify and the new object, and let's have our ornaments happen down at the bottom. I'm going to use this scroll bar to move it a little bit further down so that the work I do is more in your view. And let's rename this, and I'm going to make it a ball. And I'm going to create one ball, and then we're going to use the cool trick to reuse it as we decorate. I'm going to make this one out of the shape sphere. I'm going to pick one cool color. I'm going to choose a bright yellow, and I'm going to pick a radius of 2, and I'm going to leave the steps at 18. If we hit play right now, you can see that that little ball shows up down on the bottom, which is totally useless, but it does explain how it draws. Alright friends, I want our tree to have more cool decorations than anybody can even count, so let's do that using some cool variables. Rename your first variable to be BH, which means ball height, and then we also need to make one that is BX and BY. And we want to make sure these are sitting above the object ball. Real quickly, I'll do that one more time. And then there's my rename, and then my BY. Then we're going to take and make a new object where we actually create all the decorations. Find your purple create object. Click on it, do rename. And this time we're going to name it decorate. And we're going to use a technique called add a copy, which we've seen before. And we want to add a copy of our variable where we created the ball. I want these new balls to... These balls will still be yellow like the first one. I'm going to scroll down so you can see the code. I want to make a bunch of these though, so let's find control and drop in a repeat. And look at this, it actually snaps around our shape. And then we want to decide how many. I'm going to tell you right now to do 4 of them. And then after we make them, we've got to do a move, which is back in our modify. And then we are going to move with our variables. So let's click on our data, and let's put BH out in the Z because that's the height. Let's put BX in the X and put BY in the Y. Now since we're going to use X, Y, and Z, let's put some numbers in there. Put in a 15, a 3, and a 4. And then what makes this magical is we change them each time. So bring your change item down below. Make sure you pick the item you're going to change, and let's put in the numbers. For BX, let's always change by a random number. So for the BX change, let's bring out this awesome random, and instead of 0 and 10, let's do negative 10 and 10. So that means it'll go left and right, 10 or 10, and maybe later you'll change that to a larger number. Bring out your change item again. This time choose BY. This is important too. You want to make sure you remember to change these. If you don't, it does not work. And we'll do negative 10 and 10 for these too, so it can move forward and it can move back. This could be something we end up changing, because if it does any number close to 0, it'll be in the center of our tree, which may not show up, which would be silly. But that's what we'll explore. And then lastly, bring out one more change item, and we want to change our item height, which is BZ or BH. And let's always change that by 10 so that they climb up the tree. At this point, hit play and check out how cool your ornaments turn out. Just like that, 3 awesome ornaments. There's probably a 4th one somewhere, we just can't see it. But your tree is looking amazing in no time. Alright, so I want more decorations on my tree, and this time I'm going to create an object, and it's going to be called DB for Decorate Blue. And I am going to create another copy, and this time when I go to my variable of the objects I'm going to copy, I'm going to copy the decorate. Now the decorate last time was yellow, now I'm going to make it blue. And then I want whatever was done in this one to be done again, but I want it to rotate a little bit, which I'm going to do in the modify. Rotate, I'm going to do on the x-axis, and then I want to rotate, I'm going to say by 180. You can change that and adjust and see what happens. When you hit play, your project happens again, only this time you've got yellow and blue decorations. And this is where you go back and adjust your numbers to make sure that they line up in your tree. You can have fun and make this as crazy as you want. The last thing that you want to do though is do a cleaning object. So I'm going to do one last create object down at the bottom of mine. I'm going to name this clean. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean up that first ball, because now that everything else is drawn, I don't need it. And we do that by putting a delete object, and then in that spot we're going to delete the original ball, which we track down and find and drop in. One more play. There is my tree as it adjusts every time. I'm going to change this to a crazy number just because I can. And check out how cool the tree starts looking. Adjust your numbers, have fun, make sure if you make something incredible, share it with me at HLModTech. Friends, if you like this movie, hit the like button. Friends, if you haven't subscribed, smash that subscribe button. If you want to be the first to know when there's a brand new movie from me, HLModTech, hit that notification bell. If you got a question or a comment, leave it down below. Thanks again for watching. I hope you had fun and learned some cool code.